Okay, hi girls. Hey, so my name is Rebecca Young, and I'm a journeyman electrician, and I've been an electrician for 28 years. And I love it. It's like really the best trade. I've had a ton of fun doing it. When I started, I mean, you can imagine years ago when I started, they didn't want us in the trade. So it was pretty brutal. But as I refused to give up, right? I refused to get kicked out, and I learned and I got better, and I kept on going, and I mean, it wound up being the best thing I ever did my entire life, okay? So I used to work at the steel mill in production, and they used to offer at the steel mill 2 electrical apprenticeships every 2 years. So I applied to the first one, and that would have been about 30 years ago. And they turned me down. They said, we're not going to give it to you. You're a woman. We're not going to give it to you just because of that. So I reapplied 2 years later, and I was able to get into the apprenticeship. One of the guys advocated for me, and I was able to get into the apprenticeship. So from that point, I mean, I just took it and grabbed and ran and, you know, did everything I possibly could. And so I worked at the steel mill for 7 years. And then I was about 2 years out from my apprenticeship, about 1.5 years. And so I was living in Vancouver, Washington. And so Portland, Oregon was booming, going crazy, okay? And so they needed a bunch of more journeyman electricians. So I was able to quit the steel mill and go over to this other apprenticeship program, which was the highest apprenticeship program you can get into. And I wound up with my general journeyman license, which was better than what I was going to get, which was going to be a limited manufacturing plant license. So I wound up with the highest journeyman license that you can get, okay? So I did work as a journeyman for a while in Oregon. I eventually moved. I went up to Alaska. I worked up in Alaska for 19 years. I just moved, and I did all kinds of stuff in Alaska. I worked all over the whole state. I was, you know, once you're a journeyman, you have, you know, nowhere to go but up, right? So there's lots of things you can do. So you can be foreman, general foreman, superintendent, inspector. I actually got my electrical inspector's license to be an inspector, QC on base for a while. I was an instructor. I was teaching pre-apprenticeship classes up in Alaska for the last 4 years before I moved down here. So I moved down here. My best friend, who is an electrician, she moved down here 10 years ahead of me. And Darcy and I, we started Lone Star Construction Trades training. And so we do free hands-on construction training to try and help more people, especially women, get into the trades. Because women deserve to make the same exact amount of money and have really good benefits and support their family and not have to depend on the guy to do it, okay? So it's a really good trade. Out of all the construction trades out there, and they're all good money makers. I mean, they will throw money at you, okay? But out of all the trades, I really think electrical is the best trade. So I brought some stuff to show you guys. I'll show you this wall first. I brought this little wall that I built to show people the devices and stuff. Can they get up to see the wall? Can you guys get up? You guys want to see it? I'll try and stay far away from you. So this wall, I just kind of built it so people could see different electrical devices. So some of the devices that I have on here, they're going to be stuff you guys are going to have in your house, right? So you're going to have a switch, right? And you can chase the electricity, right? If it's hot, I can show you it's hot. Once you turn the switch, it goes on and you can chase the electricity where it comes up to the switch. Anything red, right? It's hot. Okay, so see it's dead right now. And the minute I turn the switch, right? So you can chase the electricity with this. We call it a tick tracer, TSC, tick tracer. And then this is a ground fault circuit interrupter, Gfci. So this is actually a really cool device. If you see those 2 lights on a receptacle, do you see the 2 lights in the front? If you see these 2 lights, it shows you that it's working, okay, that it's wired correctly. And a ground fault circuit interrupter, what it does is it protects you from getting shocked by water. Have you ever seen these kind of receptacles like in your bathroom, in your kitchen, things like that? Okay, so the instant you have like a radio falls in the water or something, the instant, split second, these GFIs will trip and save your life. This is actually a pretty cool device. So then this one, this receptacle over here, I just have it so it's on the same circuit, and if I trip it, it trips. This GFI protects this receptacle. So it's plain old receptacle, but it's GFI protected, okay? So you can see I don't have any power to it, but I can come back over here and reset it, and you have the power back on, okay? So then, have you ever had, like in your house, you know where you go into like one room, you walk into your living room, and you turn on one light switch, and you go walk over to the kitchen, and you turn another light switch, it turns your light off. Maybe you go to the bottom of the stairs, and you have another switch, and it turns that light off, okay? So I have 3-way, 4-way, 3-way. So I have 3 separate light switches that control one light, which is really common, right? If you're in this room and you want to turn the lights on and you have that door and you have these doors and you have an exit back here, I guarantee you they have 3-way, 4-way, 3-way switching. And if you understand how to do it, it's pretty fun that you can do all these kind of fun things about it, okay? So I brought some receptacles. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys sit down so I don't get close to you. So I brought some receptacles, and I thought it might be fun for you guys, all of you guys have them, to try and wire in a receptacle, okay? So you guys all have these little white receptacles, okay? This is a plain old receptacle, and I brought a couple others to show you just so you'd see them. This one, do you see how it has that line coming off of it? So this line means this receptacle is a 20 amp receptacle, okay? So it's like your microwave, it's something a little bit stronger than just your general purpose receptacle, okay? So I just wanted to show you because I had one laying around when I was picking up stuff. Then I have these flat receptacles. This is the exact same thing, only it's fancy, right? It's like a Decora brand. So if you want something fancier, it's the exact same receptacle, does the exact same thing, okay? So if you're gonna wire in a receptacle, I want you guys to pick up your receptacle and just look at the front of it. Do you guys notice, do you notice how there's like one slot is short on the front and one slot is longer? Do you guys see that on your receptacle? Okay, so the long slot, that's your neutral. The short slot, that's your hot, okay? And you have to know which is which when you're wiring in a receptacle, right, for the power. So your hot is your power come from the panel to your device, and your neutral is your return path, okay? And then the little round one, that's your ground, okay? So if you look at it, the short side has gold terminals. And the long side has silver terminals, okay? And then the little round one, it actually hooks down here to your green ground screw. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to bend a hook. This is one of the main things we do as electricians. We wire in devices, right? Okay, so you guys have some wire strippers in front of you. And if you pick up your wire strippers, I'm gonna explain to you how they work. So your wire strippers, if you look at them, do you see at the very top where it says 12-2? That's gonna be where you strip Romex. I should have grabbed a piece of Romex. So Romex is the wire they use. This is Romex, this yellow jacketed wire. This is Romex, okay? And it has your hot, neutral, and ground conductor inside of it. So this 3, the 12-2, it's made to cut 3 conductors. What it does is it cuts this jacket off so you can strip it off and get to the 3 conductors, okay? Then you have, it says 12 AWG, and you have that one single hole, and that's gonna be where you strip the wire insulation off. And then you have, on this, the way we're gonna make a hook, I'm gonna show you the cool, easy way. I'm going to show you all the shortcuts that I can think of while we're doing this. You have these two holes right here, okay? And that's going to be where we bend the hook. They're actually factory holes, but we use them to bend a hook, okay? So we have these two holes, and we're going to use them to bend a hook. Okay, pick up your ground, your copper, bare copper ground wire. Okay, now put your strippers in your right hand. If you're right-handed, right hand, and your bare copper in your left, okay? Hold your strippers in front of you sideways. Okay, I want you to take the bare copper wire and put it in through the back to the bottom hole. Do you see my two holes here? In through the back to the bottom hole. And I want you to put it in so it just barely goes through. Can you guys see that? I mean, I'm just barely catching it, okay? Put your thumb directly behind it, okay? And what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a hook with our thumb. We're gonna go constant downward pressure. And we're gonna bend a hook. This hook has gotta be tight, pretty tight, because this hook has gotta fit into this slot. Okay, so all your hooks have to be pretty tight. Okay, so go ahead and try it. If you don't like it, you have a blade right down here, and you can cut your hook off, bend another hook, right? You can't do this wrong. It's no big deal, okay? Cut it off, try it again. Okay, how do you like your hooks? Let me see. I'll try and stay far away from you. Is it tight enough? Nice job. Do me a favor, turn your hook to the right, because when you put your hook onto the screws, your hooks always go to the right, because when you tighten your screw, you want your hook to go to the right, because what it does is it grips it and it pulls it tighter, okay? If you go to the left, when you're tightening it, it tries to push the copper out, okay? Okay, how are you girls doing back there? Good? Okay, okay. I'm gonna just do it again so I have it with you, okay? Okay, so we have a nice tight hook. Okay, and before I put that on, I'm just gonna have you guys strip a wire, and then I'll just put all my wires on at the same time. Okay, try a black or a white wire. I don't care, which either one. Okay, your black is your hot conductor. This is your hot wire. Your white is your neutral, which is your return path, okay? Okay, so your black, you're gonna come over here, and you're gonna wind up putting it where it says 12 AWG. And you're gonna wind up, okay, let me explain this to you. You're gonna cut down here about 3/4 of an inch, and when you do it, don't do it as hard as you can do it. Inside of this insulation, you have soft copper, okay? So what we wanna do is strip this insulation off and damage the soft copper inside here as little as possible, okay? And so what happens is I'm gonna come over here, watch, and I'm just gonna go 1, 2, and then I'm gonna use my thumb, push it off. Here, I don't want to get that close. Let me try it here. Okay, I'm going to go 1, 2, push it off. Okay, let me show you what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to do like this. If you wind up and you're trying to strip your wire and you do, you know, over and over, what you're doing is you're damaging this soft copper in here. Okay, so by the time you do that, and then you put a hook on it, this wire is damaged, okay? And when you plug this in, your electricity is gonna vibrate, right? Your wires wind up vibrating because electricity is alive. And at some point, this copper wire will break, okay? And once it breaks, that spark is gonna try and continue, you know, to make that circuit. It wants to finish that path. And it winds up, like it'll break and it'll eventually get really hot and it could start a fire, okay? Burn the house down. Okay, so we're trying to avoid damaging the wire. We want to damage the wire as little as possible. We're going to have a couple scratch marks on it, but that won't hurt it, okay? Okay, okay, so come over here. You got it stripped, put a hook. When you do a hook, you want your hook to be about the same length across. Do you see how your hook, you see how your copper is about the same length across? Okay, so you don't want, I'm gonna show you what you don't want. I'm gonna really over-exaggerate this so you can see. You don't want it to be really long. If it's really long, what happens is it goes past the end of the device. And then when you have all your wires in that box, this bare copper If it's past the end of the device, if it hits that bare ground copper wire, right, bam, dead short, okay? So you always have your copper even with your hook, okay? So you try to be really careful about that. Okay, how are you guys doing? Good? How you guys doing? I know, it takes a little bit of practice. I've done like a million, so I can make it look really easy. But I understand it takes a little bit of practice to get used to stripping it and putting hooks on. Okay, so once you have a chance, go ahead and strip your neutral and put a hook on that one too. Okay, so I want you guys, once you're there, I want you to put your wires on your device, okay? This is just so you guys can practice and see what we actually do out in the field. This is pretty basic, but that's what we do, right? They throw a lot of money at us to wire in devices and build things and make sure they're correct and things don't burn down. Okay, your bare copper goes on the green ground screw, right? You're gonna do it so your hook goes to the right. Okay, so when I do this, I'm right-handed. So I'm gonna hold this in my left hand and I'm gonna pull my wire down, okay? So that way I have it behind my screw really good, okay? And then I can come over here and I can tighten this. And when I tighten this, I want it tight, like tight, tight, tight. Loose connections cause fires. And electricity is all about safety. That's one reason why we make so much money. A lot of people are scared of electricity, but if you get into an apprenticeship and you go to school and you learn about electricity, right, you're gonna have old journeymen like me teaching you all this stuff, and it's all about safety. And we're gonna teach you from the very beginning, this is the safest, correct, easiest way to do stuff, right? And then it's not scary anymore. And then you can go out and make a lot of money, have a lot of fun. Okay, black. Do you guys remember what color the terminal is that goes on the black? Black gold, black gold. Okay, so you have two screws on the hot side. You have your two black screws, or your two gold screws. It doesn't matter what screw you put this on. Do you see there's a little piece in between them that connects them? It's called a yoke, and it mechanically connects the two screws. So you can have it on either side. Okay, whatever's easier. You can put this wire on either side. Okay, and then your neutral goes to silver. So go ahead and put your neutral on. Okay, you guys, when you're doing this, you want to make sure you got it correct. Don't worry about the speed, okay? We really want our stuff done correctly, and then you can build up on your speed as you get better and better. Just make sure everything's really nice and tight. All your hooks go to the right. Okay, so you guys should have something that looks kind of like this. So then all we would do is take this and wire it into whatever box it would go into, okay? And then this would be hot and this would work for you. This is just one of the easiest devices that we put in. But we do all kinds of stuff. What do we do? If we built this church, we would have done all the underground. We would have brought all the power underneath before they even laid the concrete, okay? We would have ran all of the conduit in the ceiling to power all of these lights in here. We would have done all the wiring in the walls for all the receptacles. Do you guys have receptacles in the floor? Anything that's power, we would have done. What about the lights outside, the street lighting? What about the stadium, like the big lights that, what do you call it? You know, they're big display lights, they're big LED signs, they light up, they show all this stuff, right? Guess who does all that, right? We do all that stuff. So we do everything from the most basic receptacle and light switch to the most complicated hospital or power plant. And I mean, we work everywhere in the entire world. So if you're an electrician, you always have a job. My phone rings off the hook. People are always calling me going, oh, I need this, I need that, I need that. You will never be out of a job. I actually thought about maybe going to Antarctica. You ever thought about that? If you ever want to go work in Antarctica, you have to have a really cool skill trade. You have to be needed, and electricians are needed down there. I really kind of thought about that for like 6 months to go do it, but I would have had to leave my pug, and I didn't want to go do that. So I said, it's not worth it. But I really kind of thought about that when I was leaving Alaska. I was like, maybe I would go do this, but maybe down the road someday. But because you have this really amazing trade, right, the skill that you have that nobody can ever take away from you, then you're in demand. And if you're in demand, right, they're going to give you a lot of money. And right now, in this area, there is such a need for skilled trades. And you know what? They need people. They need lots of people. And you know what? Women are people too. And so when I first moved down here from Alaska and I went to Austin, I was talking to the people down there in the electrical union down there, and they go, bring us women. We need more girls. We need more women. I was so surprised. I had never heard anybody say that before. And so we started our classes. We started our Lone Star classes, and we've brought them women, and they have been so welcoming and helping them out that it's been amazing. So realistically, right now with the boom and everything that's going on, now is your time. Now's the time to go out there and, get the jobs that are equal pay and equal money and equal benefits. I mean, it's amazing. I can't even tell you how. I would go on jobs. I would make so much money. I'd go on jobs, work 6 10s. I'd buy a new vehicle at the beginning of it. I'd throw $1,000 a week at it. I'd have it paid off by the end of the job, And it's not just the money. It's fun. It's exciting. It's different. It's how many people could go, I can create electricity. I built this building. I did whatever, there's some very cool projects I have worked on. I could take you all over Alaska and show you cool stuff I did, even down in Portland. Not so much here, but it's a fun trade. Do you guys have any questions yet?
Someone from the chat has a question. They said, when you were not initially let in, were you frustrated or upset?
Yes, I was frustrated. I was working in the steel mill, side by side with all the guys, right? And so I'm there, I'm doing the exact same job they are. I was getting paid the same, so that was pretty cool. And I was working the same exact hours, I was doing the exact same job, and then they're gonna come tell me, you can't do this because you're a woman. And I'm working in the steel mill, right? I'm not this little delicate flower, And even if I know women who actually are in the trade who still, like paint their nails, go, whatever we do, that's kind of like a fun thing, right? I can go get dirty at work all day long. And then I come home, I take a shower, I can do my hair, put on makeup, whatever, put on heels, and go out and go do whatever I want to do, okay? So it doesn't define you that you can't be a woman anymore. You can't be a lady anymore, okay? You just have a lady with a great big paycheck, okay? I wanted to tell you one thing real quick. To get into any of the skill trades, you have to get into an apprenticeship, okay? You have to get into an apprenticeship per the state of Texas, per the state of Alaska, per California, wherever, okay? This is common, okay? So you want to apply, get into an apprenticeship program. Do not go to a trade school. If you go to a trade school, what happens is you pay them a lot of money and then you get out and you still have to go get into an apprenticeship, okay? Go apply to an apprenticeship program, okay? You're gonna get in, you're gonna get paid to go to work and learn. And you can start that at 17, by the way, okay? And then you can go work, go apply, get in the apprenticeship, you're gonna apply, you're gonna take an aptitude test. The aptitude test is 50% math, 50% English, reading comprehension. Once you pass that, you go do an interview, and then you get into the apprenticeship program, and you start. It's a 5-year program, 8,000 hours per the state of Texas. And your pay, right now, they're starting them off at $15 an hour, and they're turning out in 5 years at over $31.50. So you're gonna over double your wages in 5 years. And that's not even counting your retirement they're putting into it, or your benefits, health and welfare, okay? And if you do something else, if you're a foreman, you get more money. If you're, whatever, and not only money, they're probably gonna give you a truck and a gas card and buy some tools if your tools break, and overtime. All you do is you try to become a journeyman, right? And then all they do is go, here's more money, hang on, here's more money, wait, let me give you a perk, here's a truck. Here, it's amazing. It's fun. It's exciting. It's interesting. I love what I do, and I get paid really well to do it. Do you guys have any other questions?
Is an apprenticeship like an internship, or where do you begin to search?
Okay, I would Google apprenticeship San Antonio. There's an apprenticeship program here in San Antonio. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to tell you. I'll have to tell you afterwards. In Austin, it's called Austin Electrical Training Alliance. Okay, and then you just go to that page, and it says like to apply to become an apprentice. You go step by step by step. What you have to do is you have to have a high school diploma or a GED. You have to have a year of high school algebra. Do your math. Okay, we do lots of math, tape measures, adding, subtracting fractions, things like that. Right? There's lots of math in electrical, in all the construction trades. And then you have to have a driver's license, and then you go down and apply. It's like $35. You go apply and you start the process, okay? They'll set you up for the aptitude test. They'll set you up for once you pass the aptitude test, they set you up for the interview. And then like, as soon as you pass that interview, pretty quick, they're gonna be calling you up going, get your tools, you're gonna go to work right now.
So when you're on the job, do you fear you might break something that you can't fix?
No. I had a foreman tell me one time, he's like, no matter what the worst you do, it's never as bad as the engineers.
Your least favorite part of what you do?
Oh, probably if I'm on a really dirty job, but that's it. There's really not a downside.
And also, what makes you strong, smart, and bold?
Being an electrician. I have that skill. Nobody could ever take that away from me.
Oh, yeah. Bye. Hello, everyone. My name is Chanel Raimondo. I am a member of the National Association of Women in Construction and the incoming board member for the 2020-2021 year. Today, I wanted to share with you my journey in the construction industry. Well, you already met Rebecca. I have worked with her multiple times in different events through NAWIC, and today I want to share with you my journey. 5 years ago, I graduated with degrees in marketing and finance, and I knew absolutely nothing about the construction industry. But because I had a strong foundation in STEM, a lot of doors started to open up for me. So I decided to take a leap of faith, be my bold self, and move from Houston to San Antonio by myself to start my career in the construction industry. I went from being an inside sales representative who knew absolutely nothing about construction to 5 years later, being the inside sales coordinator for Barrage Manufacturing Company. So Barrage Manufacturing Company is a company that specializes in metal roofs and wall panels, and we sell our material all around the world. So we have different colors, We have different panels. And what I really love the most about my career is the fact that I get to combine my childlike wonder. Remember when you used to play with Legos, or maybe you're still playing with Legos, which is completely fine. Back in the day, I would combine different colors and create unique designs, but I do that in a larger scale now. So because I had a huge foundation in math, I was able to move from being someone who knew absolutely nothing about construction to being the sales coordinator who trains inside sales and outside sales representatives on our product and how to properly communicate it to our customers around the world. And like I said, we sell our products around the world, so I need to know the imperial system as well as the metric system and use those conversions and those formulas on a daily basis. I interact with architects, engineers, and different people in the construction industry to formulate and have the final products that we need. On a daily basis, I need to use math, like I said, to use formulas to figure out what our customers need and give them the final products in a timely manner, reduce waste, and find environmentally friendly solutions. I want to say that because of the construction industry, because of my skill sets in math, I was able to go from knowing absolutely nothing about construction to being my bold self and reaching out to people like Rebecca, to the National Association of Women in Construction, to find leaders in the industry and use them as role models to move forward. And for you, I want to recommend that no matter what your dreams are, reach out to those people. Don't limit yourself. My background before I moved into construction was retail, hospitality. I knew absolutely nothing. Do not limit yourself regardless of if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be an electrician, if you want to be an architect. There are so many skills in the construction industry that we need now. And the more skill sets that you have, the stronger you will be and more opportunities will arise for you. I wanted to know, did you have any questions for me, or do you have, yes, go ahead.
So I have a question. So you mentioned the different parts of your job and
Sure.
working in the construction industry.
Mhm.
So I wanted to know, do you still deal with issues as far as like women representation in your industry?
Absolutely. So the reason why I joined the National Association of Women in Construction is because I read a recent article. Women make about 10% of the construction industry. And without that strong foundation, that strong community, I wouldn't have the confidence to go into the industry and to thrive. I am one of the younger people in the industry. I am someone who didn't go to school for construction, but I did reach out, I did speak to people, and I did take the initiative to learn what I needed to do to be confident and to thrive in my position. It is very difficult for me to every day to talk to people, especially men or older people who have been in the industry longer, but to still speak with confidence because I know exactly what our company does and what is needed to execute a project. Any other questions?
Do you like what you do?
There are some challenges, but like I said, what I do like the most is the fact that because of, creating the Legos when I was younger, I do that on a grander scale. I get to transform the urban landscapes around the world. Our products are used on schools, government jobs, businesses, residential homes. So I get to see the final product, and it really is very satisfying because it will help generations to come. Any other questions?
There are no more questions, but I wanted to thank you and Ms. Rebecca for coming to speak to us today. It was really interesting and I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure.